For Pacifica Radio, I'm Christina Onnested. Donald Trump is set to appear in federal court in Washington, D.C. today on federal felony charges. He sought to overturn his 2020 presidential election loss. The Republican former president will be facing a judge near the U.S. Capitol building his supporters stormed to try to block the peaceful transfer of power to Democrat Joe Biden. Trump's expected to be taken into custody, processed, and enter a non-guilty plea in front of a judge before being released. Then he'll rejoin the 2024 campaign trail as he seeks to reclaim the White House. The federal judge assigned to Trump's election fraud case was appointed by former President Barack Obama and has levied some of the harshest sentences on 38 people convicted for participating in the deadly Capitol siege, often handing down harsher prison sentences than what Justice Department prosecutors recommended. Judge Tanya Chutkin has sentenced 38 convicted people anywhere from 10 days to 5 years. She's a former assistant public defender. Meanwhile, the response to Trump's indictment has been mixed. Vice President Mike Pence, who's at the center of the indictment and the alleged scheme to overturn Trump's election loss, has spoken out. Christopher Martinez reports.
One part of the indictment describes Trump criticizing then Vice President Mike Pence for not throwing out votes from certain states. According to the indictment, Trump told Pence, "You're too honest." As for Pence himself, he says he had hoped it would not come to an indictment.
Irrespective of the indictment, I want the American people to know that I had no right to overturn the election. And then on that day, President Trump asked me to put him over the Constitution. But I chose the Constitution, and I always will. I really do believe that anyone who puts themselves over the Constitution should never be President of the United States. And anyone who asks someone else to put themselves over the Constitution should never be President of the United States again.
He emphasized that point about not having a right to not count votes, as Trump had asked him to do.
Sadly, the president was surrounded by a group of crackpot lawyers that kept telling him what his itching ears wanted to hear.
I'm Christopher Martinez.
The gunman who carried out the deadliest anti-Semitic attack in U.S. history will likely be sentenced to death today after a jury Wednesday recommended the death penalty for Robert Bowers. He was found guilty in June of storming into the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh and opening fire on congregants, killing 11 of them. The 50-year-old truck driver had spewed hatred of Jews and espoused white supremacist beliefs online before carrying out the 2018 massacre at the Tree of Life synagogue. A judge will formally sentence him today after victims, loved ones, and survivors give impact statements. Most of the victims were elderly or disabled. Bowers also wounded 2 worshipers and 5 police officers in the shooting. A rabbi who helped hide congregants at the Tree of Life the day of the shooting has urged Bowers' life be spared, and he's sent to life in prison. Jonathan Perlman told the Jewish publication Forward, "Revenge will not bring our slain loved ones back to life, and seeking it may even hurt ourselves and extend our sadness," he said. Wisconsin Democrats are celebrating the beginning of a new era for the state Supreme Court as it flips from conservative to Democratic control. Janet Protasewicz made abortion rights a focus of her winning election campaign and was sworn into a 10-year term Tuesday. Catherine Carley reports.
For the first time in 15 years, Wisconsin Democrats are celebrating liberal control of the state Supreme Court following the swearing-in of Judge Janet Protasewicz.
Well, Wisconsin, guess what? We did it! We did it!
Protasewicz called Republican-drawn legislative maps rigged. A lawsuit asking the court to rule the maps as unconstitutional has already been filed by law firms and voting rights groups. I'm Catherine Carley for Pacifica Network and Public News Service.
Greenpeace activists have scaled the country home of British Prime Minister Rishi Sunak and draped a side of it in black fabric to protest the expansion of oil drilling in the North Sea. Video posted by the group today shows activists with a yellow banner on the roof that says "No New Oil," and also holding a banner in front of the house that says "Rishi Sunak, Oil Profits or Our Future." This week, Sunak announced hundreds of new oil and gas licenses will be granted in a bid for energy independence. It's been criticized by environmental and climate justice groups as the world is on record to have the hottest July in more than 100,000 years. I'm Christina Onnested reporting for Pacifica Radio.